Hello and thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to talk about inbox automation. How can we take your @company.com email inbox, whether it be for procurement legal HR whatever and how do we report on that, gain visibility into it? How do we automate and delight end users by fulfilling their requests faster? And how do we give you the visibility into this work and how it's being done and help you to triage it more effectively? In every organization we work with, we find inboxes everywhere. Even though I may be a fan of the Steelers, unless I'm a super fan, I probably don't have their app installed on my phone. I probably just go to Google and I search for it, and I know that Google's going to surface it to me really quickly. Well, the folks in your organization are probably the same. If they go and work with you on a regular basis, usually weekly, then they may know your channels for communicating with you, whether you be in procurement or HR or what have you. But if they don't work with you often, if it's not a regular part of their work schedule and they don't have the muscle memory, they're unlikely to know your processes and how to interact with you, and they're more likely to go to Slack, Teams, email. Now, we have solutions for all of those different channels, whether it be somebody wants to work with your business unit and they go in through Salesforce or ServiceNow or Workday, or they reach out via email or Teams or Slack. But we're going to focus on email because it's ubiquitous and we're automating it for a whole bunch of companies. Now, why is Tonking a strong automation platform for email inboxes? And why is this valuable? Don't we want to get people out of email? Well, email is going to be around, I promise, for the next 15 years at least. I don't see it going away anytime soon. So having a process in place for what is going to be a channel is very important. And so that's step one. How do we gain visibility? So what Tonking does is we're an integration platform. We are able to use forms and human-in-the-loop actions to automate work that goes across system. And so there's tons of examples of how we do this to make organizations more efficient. In this case, let's look at a simple workflow. This just happens to be legal specific. I could do it for procurement or really any other business unit or use case. And what you see is a stateful workflow engine that when a new email comes in, we're going to do different things. Tonking has built-in OCR and natural language processing capabilities. So the ability to automatically triage this work using natural language is just part of our base platform. We think that that's essential to be able to do multi-system, high-level workflowing. And this is built 100% on no code. So if you are non-technical and you have no idea how to script or write code, that's completely fine. You can use Tonking. You can even go and download a Tonking trial and use Tonking to automate an email inbox right now. Feel free to go to tonking.com and start a free 14-day trial. So what is this doing? All right, so we're monitoring this inbox. How are we doing that? Well, you add Tonking to this distribution list so that every time this inbox, in this case, receives a new email, it also is delivered to Tonking. Tonking immediately collects all the information about this email. So here's all of the native email features, whether it be what is the subject, who is the sender. I don't necessarily know what a header is, but I don't need to know what a header is, or all of these special terms. I can see that this is the body of the email. This is the from, so I have their email, and I have everything that I need to do very effective triage. Typically, email inbox is something that's just a black hole in terms of reporting. If I ask a business unit, how many emails do you get a month? It's a complete guess. But with Tonking, I can deliver the ability to view all of this work and how it's being triaged all across the business unit, all across this email inbox, so that I can see, okay, these are all of the NDAs I've received. These are all of the law firm onboarding I've requests from email. Same with if I bring up a procurement option. These are some of our out-of-the-box dashboards, and this is giving me visibility into all of the emails I've received and how they've been categorized, when they've been received, and what status the request is in. Tonking is taking this email, triaging it, and then routing it to the appropriate system or team, or just getting the work done itself. So step one, that's how we give you your visibility. Let's send all of those emails, add Tonking to that distribution list, and immediately we can begin reporting and viewing all of the work coming in. And then we can start actioning on it. So using natural language processing, I can start to analyze, okay, what are my most common types? All right, now let's start to think about how we can address each of those types. So if it's legal, they probably get a lot of general questions. I just need to ask a question to my legal team. I need to file to get a conflict waiver. I need to onboard a law firm, file a patent, get marketing content approved. So I simply add a few keywords and I'm able to begin triaging these effectively, and you can use AI and machine learning to reinforce this loop so that as it appropriately triages it, it reinforces that good behavior and it becomes more and more accurate over time. So great, now I have visibility. Now I'm getting people onto the right automation path. What about requests that I could tier 0? If you're not familiar with that term, it's actually solved right then, so that rather than my legal or procurement or HR, whatever team, having to go into the inbox to action on it, how do I make this self-service? How do I make this actionable to that team? Well, here's my email. And let's say that I want to do that. I want an NDA path. I wrote up a very simple email and I'm going to go ahead and send that. Now what's happening is Tonkean is receiving that email. So the end user has no idea that this is Tonkean working on their end. They think that they've just sent an email to their inbox as usual and that they're going to have to wait for a human being to come and pick it up. But Tonkean is able to recognize that when this email is received, we're going to go ahead and respond to it automatically. So what does that look like? Well, I just received my email back from Tonkean saying, oh, it looks like you'd like to create an NDA. Let's begin that process. Now, Tonkean can absolutely take this information, put it into a document and create it for you. But let's say you already have a system for NDAs, like Ironclad or some other CLM. It's perfectly fine. What this will do is it's just going to ask me a couple of questions, and we can also dynamically look up information about the user who sent it. And this is essential. Rather than me just saying, go fill this form, done, Tonkean orchestrates the whole process. So I can say, oh, Stuart Brocker, I see who I received this email from. If I go to my production environment, which is built right into Tonkean, I can view my history. And that shows me that all of this information that Tonkean has collected about me. I can understand who this user is. I can even do a VLOOKUP into another system. We call these matched entities. It's where we take information from the user, such as their name, such as their email, and we can look them up in Okta to see what business department they're in. I can look them up in Workday and see who their manager is, wherever that information lies. And so that instead of this just being a static email, it's now an enriched, triaged email. And I can perform much, much more effective automation on it, such as data driving this form. Because I know who the user is, I can look up what their corresponding opportunities are in Salesforce. And so I can display to them a drop-down list of their opportunities rather than waiting on them to type it in manually, potentially making a mistake, having to go back to them. So these smart forms, these forms that are data-driven, also means I don't have to enter as much info. Instead of me getting frustrated and just calling this team, it's actually pre-filling the information for me. Really, really powerful. Great for giving a great experience to your end user, so that even though this is email, it starts to feel a little bit more like a chatbot. And now it takes me to a request page where I can track the status of my request, that it is actually waiting for review before final signature and all of that good stuff. I can see, information that I entered, and I can see the Ironclad workflow that is kicking off. Ironclad is great at what it does. But how do we get people to that great system? How do we manage the intake and the triage so that when it reaches the team, it is filled out, effective, contains all the information that I need? Well, Tonkean is designed to do exactly that. We wrap around the technology that you have, integrate it together, and give you a much, much better experience to your end users, so that I can do true self-service. And as the legal team, I have full visibility into all of my requests, how they were categorized, how they're being worked, so that I can understand the true scope across all of my different workflows. And we do this for any business unit, not just legal. So if you have an inbox that you're spending time manually triaging, that you would like better visibility into, or if you have end users who don't know how to use your processes, they're confused, they're frustrated, this is the system for you. We can orchestrate all of these systems using their APIs, and it's built 100% using no code, so that the process owner can own this. You don't have to pay services partners or get your IT's time to create this and then in 3 months be stuck whenever your workflow changes. You can own it and build it and change it over time. We'd love to talk to you some more about this and how we're automating other email inboxes. I hope this was a helpful or at least educational video. Hope to talk to you again soon.